Hello guys, and welcome to this very first episode of FIFA Community Talk. Before you click off the video because you're not interested or whatever, just listen quickly to what this kind of series will be. It's about giving the community, the FIFA community mainly, a voice. It's about giving them a chance to speak out and have the opinions heard about different topics, whether this is to do with Ultimate Team, Career Mode, Pro Clubs, guys, whatever you want, we'll cover it. This is a community thing. I want to make this grow, and I want to make sure that everyone gets to really have an opinion. We'll have guests on from time to time, and obviously we'll allow fans to obviously put their opinion across. You'll get shout outs and different kind of things, and we'll be doing giveaways as well along the way, guys. So make sure to subscribe down below if you do not want to miss out on all of that kind of stuff. And there will be kind of FIFA gameplay in the background that you can either watch along or just listen in the background whilst you're doing things. But if you don't know who I am a pro FIFA player. Top 150 in Europe on the global rankings. And really, I'm going to be giving you that kind of perspective, from the things I'm seeing. And I'm going to be honest, guys, 100%. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not an EA employee. I don't have to say anything specific. I'm not hired to do anything. We want to make sure that the community really gets to speak out on a lot of issues. And I think what better issue to start on than scripting and momentum, guys, and what my perspective of it is, and you can obviously share down below what you think. I'm happy to reply to all comments, all critical feedback. If you want the podcast to run differently, guys, let me know. I'm here for open feedback. This is all about the community. We will really hope to make this grow, and make it into something. If you obviously want to join in on my streams that are starting soon, make sure to follow my Twitch down below. But guys, let's get into it. Let's talk about, because I think these are two different things, the dynamic difficulty adjustment, which is scripting, and momentum. I think they are two different things, and I think it's very important to distinguish them, guys. So let's talk about scripting first. And obviously comment down below your own experiences and what you think. Guys, scripting is something that's been mentioned in FIFA since the old days. I remember KSI talking about it in like FIFA 12. FIFA 13, those kind of FIFAs, that's so long ago. Everyone talked about scripting. Everyone thought the game was against them. And I'm going to go out on the whim here, and despite how annoying the game is, and I hope that not, you don't click off just because you hear this, I don't think scripting and dynamic difficulty adjustment actually exists. I know it sounds controversial, but let me just explain. This is my own perspective at the end of the day. Whether I'm right or wrong really doesn't matter, because what does it really change? The game is the game. We're not going to have much change in the game. We're never going to really know the truth. We can only speculate. But it's mainly to do with the fact that, my own opinion is mainly to do with the fact that it would be so impossible to implement a scripting mechanism. I know you're thinking they're $1 billion company, but look, they can't sort out servers. How are they going to sort out something to do with scripting? You'd have to have such a very complex system to make sure that a certain player is favoritized over someone else. Now let's work with something here, because everyone complains about scripting. Everyone talks about scripting and says, "Oh, this match was scripted. It was rigged against me." You hear this all the time in the community. There's no way in hell every single match was scripted against absolutely everyone, against everyone else. Basically, that doesn't make sense, right? Now, I'm not saying the game is perfect, because I'm going to go into this point after this. But with scripting, we're talking about dynamic difficulty adjustment. We're talking about EA having the mechanism to say, look, you have lost the match before it starts. I'm going to do absolutely everything so that you lose. Which makes, with how the game is going, it would make sense if they did such a thing. But at the same time, like I said, let's say I create a second account, right? I am a pro player at the end of the day. Would they be able to recognize that is me? Like, how would they recognize using my IP address? But what if someone else is in my house and they want to play weekend league? That kind of stuff, like, guys, it's near impossible to implement a perfect scripting system just to script towards, and remember, the lesser player, because this is the big thing. No one ever says, oh, the scripting goes towards a pro, because pros are the ones that usually complain the most about it. I think it's this whole thing that obviously the worst player gets favoritized and gets better bounces, gets more 50-50s, gets better finishes, gets more, rebounds and weird bookie goals and stuff like that, and I just think it's impossible to implement such a thing. I don't know what you think. Maybe, there are some specialists out there who would be able to tell me more about game programming and stuff like that, and tell me that it's actually quite feasible. But for me personally, scripting in that dynamic difficulty adjustment, it's a straight no-no. Now, that does not change the fact that sometimes the game feels rigged. I know that. I play the game. I play the game in pro qualifiers, and I'm going to tell you my own experience. There are so many games where I feel rigged. Right? The gameplay is an absolute mess. Sometimes I play the game and it's absolutely smooth, and then I play a game into one bar connection and I can't move, I can't do one skill, and what am I supposed to do? But FIFA is such a mental game, and I've realized, and I did this kind of experiment for myself here, and I recommend everyone else does it as well. If you're interested, if you're a part of some community, I don't know, Reddit community or YouTube community or any other community to FIFA, or Twitter mainly, Twitter's the biggest one. Try to avoid any negative comments for a few days, maybe for a whole week before you do a weekend league. Because I did such a thing, and this was around the start of the game, because I wanted to really focus on improving myself in the game. And honestly, I have to mean it, at the start of the game, I really liked FIFA. I really did like this FIFA. And I was doing very well. I distanced myself from that negativity, and it was very, very good. For me, it was kind of therapeutic. It allowed me to kind of enjoy the game even, and I think there are still moments where I enjoy the game depending on the gameplay. But that kind of negativity kind of surrounds the game, and there's this aura that there's something that's gonna happen, that's gonna mess you up, and when it does, it triggers this kind of thing in your brain where you're like, wow, okay, cool, I'm rigged, it's game over. And since FIFA is such a mental game, because there's so much stuff that can go wrong, which by the way is not how it should be. We should not have to worry what the next glitch is going to be, or whether my player is going to get to the ball when he's ahead of the player by miles. I should not have to worry about such things, but we do have to, because it's how the game is made. But is that being rigged, really? And it's, well, it kind of, it's kind of swings and roundabouts, it's the kind of same thing as VAR. Everyone's like, oh, VAR is, ruining this team, it's favoritizing United, it's favoritizing Liverpool, it's favoritizing all the big teams, but not the small teams. But, there's so many situations that go, undercover because we don't want to talk about it, because we have agendas. And I think it's the same thing here. I watch over a lot of my clips because I have to, obviously, to not only improve, but to post gameplay on YouTube. And I've noticed, usually, there are stuff that goes my way, there are bounces that go my way, but I will not acknowledge them in the moment because I have this agenda that I'm being rigged if I'm losing. And it's not a good thing. And I play pro qualifiers, and see, this is the thing, when you're playing a pro qualifier, it's very important for the gameplay to be perfect. You can't have any random bounces and stuff like that, because you're playing against the best of the best. You have to really hone in and be focused. And it's really difficult because sometimes the bounces go against you. In the last qualifiers, I felt very rigged in one game. The penalties, there were 2 penalties given for me doing a standing tackle and getting the ball. I mean, that's just ridiculous, but that's the game mechanic, that's not EA scripting it. And for me, therefore, that kind of scripting and this dynamic difficulty adjustment, it's not a thing. But the gameplay has so many issues, so many glitches, so many problems, so many weird physics, right? Now what happens is, from time to time, you will have a game where every single one of them will look like they're going against you, and they will, and you will lose. And therefore the game will look like it's rigging against you for the worst player, who obviously probably played worse than you. I think that's not cool. I don't think that's the way it should be. But the game's a mess, and this is part of the development team's fault, because they said that they're not going to bring us out a demo because they're focusing on the gameplay. But guys, look at the gameplay. You just need to look on the Twitter timeline for one day, and you can see all the complaints, all the clips, and everything to prove to you that this game is absolutely not in a state to be out and played at this point, and it's an absolute joke. It really is. But guys, that's another conversation for another time. Make sure to comment down below what you think about the scripting stuff. I don't want to go into too much detail on the first podcast. I want to see what kind of reaction people are giving to this. I really want to stick with this, you know. If it's not working out at the start and so on, because obviously I'm still a starter when it comes to YouTube, streaming, that kind of stuff, I don't care. I'm going to keep this up because I really believe that, you know, people need to have their voice heard. So comment down below what you think. I really want to talk to some of you, see what you're talking about, and obviously comment down below any ideas you have for any other topics, and obviously follow me on my Twitter and all that, because I will be asking people what their opinions are, so we can kind of go over them in the video. And when we're going over them in the video, you obviously have a shout out and stuff like that, guys. So make sure to just, you know, let me know down in the comments below what you want to hear about, guys. Moving on to the next topic, momentum. Now this is where I'm going to become even more controversial. I do genuinely think momentum is a thing in the game. Now, it is going to sound weird, because why are you saying that? You can't admit such things. Well, I want to admit such things, you know, guys. At the end of the day, I prioritize my own free speech and my own, you know, opinion as the most important thing. You know, I don't want to lie to you guys. I'm giving you my own perspective. I think momentum is definitely a thing. I don't think it's scripting, but momentum, you know, this is the thing with it's the hard thing with momentum, because we have to distinguish between actual real momentum, which you get in a lot of real life football games. You get it a lot, obviously. We know this whole thing. Oh, 2-0 is the most dangerous result, because you're so comfortable with a 2-goal lead. You concede one, bang, you're already on the back foot because you're scared there's going to be another one. Therefore, you're already stressed. So therefore, 2-0 is one of the worst results you can have. And obviously teams that are behind are going to push more forward, so therefore the momentum is pushing that way. So that is the kind of real momentum, and that's going to exist in the game as well. You can see this on a Call of Duty Search and Destroy game. If you're behind in rounds, you're going to start being more aggressive and really push for it. You know, that's normal. That's momentum. That's momentum in absolutely everything. But here we are talking about EA implementing momentum into specific parts of the game to favoritize a certain player, or let's say a worse player. I think it is possibly a thing. Like, it's hard to explain basically, but sometimes it feels like, yeah, every bounce is going against you, but it also feels like the crowd, it feels like the referee, it feels like everyone's uniting against you. And okay, maybe it's in my head, you know, maybe some of you will say, oh, that's in your head, that's not a real thing, why would that be a real thing? But I think that when someone's behind, let's say 2-3 goals and stuff like that, for some reason his team gets this massive boost. And obviously I avoid it more than others, and I think this is the thing. Skill gap, oh, this is going to be another big topic, skill gap. I mean, that requires like an hour to itself, really. Skill gap is going to be something I really want to bring guests on, because I think it's a big topic, big topic, and needs to be talked about. But momentum, obviously, I feel like you can obviously nullify its effects when you're better at the game. You know, I can compose myself, slow the game down, and really counter that momentum. You know, so obviously that gives me an advantage. But let's say a normal Gold 1 player, and obviously I'm saying normal, that is still a very high level of a player in comparison to the whole general public that plays FIFA. They can't manage such a momentum, especially if someone whacks on team press on the D-pad. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You know, everything's going their way, they have team press, they don't have to move anyone because it does it for them, and you know, that kind of thing feels like it's all pushing you back, and the more you get pushed back, the harder it is to play. And obviously, as we know, you might get away with a result here and there, but it's not consistent. So would EA actually implement something to favoritize? I think it's possible. Right, once again, I'm not a game programmer, but let's be honest, we've had this kind of thing in racing games. Don't remember exactly what it's called, but when someone is so far behind, not so far behind, but maybe like, I think this was his first time on Mario Kart. Like, you could never win Mario Kart by like a long mile, because the game would always make sure that the last player somehow catches up to the whole queue. I don't remember what it used to be called, but it's the same thing. Like, it's like you can be miles ahead, but it doesn't matter because the game's like, haha, no, like, just no. sorry mate, you're gonna actually have to go back to the beginning now, because guess what, we're gonna give 2 goals due to a random rebound, because this player needs to be back in the game, because that's how we want the game to be played. And that's a big problem. Like, that's a massive problem. I don't see why why EA would think that a player that's started worse, let's say even, should get some kind of a boost to come back. If you're good enough, you will come back. I don't care what anyone says. You know, I've come back against the top pros in the game. Last qualifiers, I was down after first leg. I was down 3-0 against 43rd in the world, or somewhere around there, you know. And then second leg, I went 4-0, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's momentum." I'm like, true, but at the same time, pros, when we play against each other, you don't really have that same feeling of momentum, because when it comes to pros, we play at a similar level, all of us. So the games go down to margins, and when it's those kind of margins, momentum is not really a thing, guys. We're talking here, you're 2-3 ranks ahead of your player on average, and he somehow is able to catch up, play better suddenly, and really have that kind of kick in his heels. I don't know, guys. That's what I think, and I think it's wrong, obviously. I don't agree with it. And obviously the skill gap links into it. The fact that the skill gap is narrowing more and more on FIFA, it's making momentum more apparent, and it's causing problem, because it's so much easier to achieve higher ranks now. And but I can't say the same thing for scripting, because like I said, it would be so hard to implement, and there's no way in hell everyone's scripted against everyone, because that doesn't make sense. I feel like it's more of a community thing, and everyone can. A lot of people, people don't like to accept the losses. A lot of people like to just make up excuses, and I think it's a clear case of that here. If they mention momentum, that's a different case. I'm happy to accept momentum. I'm happy to accept that kind of stuff. But scripting in itself, no. I don't think the game's ever made in that way. And I know people in the comments will be saying, yeah, but have you never had a game where you felt like everything is hitting against you? Yeah, I have. But I've been able to nullify that, and I feel like, yes, it's because of my skill, but also mentality. I think negative mentality around the game as a whole creates an aura, meaning you have an excuse before the game even starts, allowing you to get away with it, and able to just come up with something in case you lose. And I think that's obviously a problem in itself. I hope you guys enjoyed this first video. This little chat. This was like a short chat, I don't want to go into it too deep right now. See what people are saying, see what people want to see, hear, whatever. And people, hit me up. I am so excited to hear what people have to say. It's going to be interesting. This is only episode 1. Make sure to let me know what you want to hear about. Anything, guys. Career mode, pro clubs. Tell me what you want to talk about. Comment down below in your opinion as well with it, so I can put you in the video, so we can actually directly talk about it and have talking points. Follow me on Twitter, where I'm going to be doing polls as well and stuff like that. And obviously, if you ever want to shout out, let me know, and I'll post it along with your comment/post. Guys, this was Tommy Roney with the first video. Please share this with your friends. Subscribe, guys. This is a community thing. Let's actually unite together and create something here, and really work together as a community to kind of have a voice, where even if we're just angry about something, we can really share it without feeling judged or feeling anything, guys. Just comment down below what you think, what you want to see. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Not Steam, not yet. And I'll see you next time, guys. Peace.